Hi guys, welcome at last to part 6. So today we're going to be taking a look at implementing a wall jumping mechanic. So the first thing you need to do if you're using the model that I've provided is just to go into the description and download the updated file, and then open up your model and press Shift F1, navigate to wherever the new file is saved, go into it, into Actions, and import the new animation called Wall Hold. Alternatively, you can just make it yourself. You just split the view and go into the dope sheet action editor, scroll down here. You can see that it's just a very simple one frame animation with the character just in this sort of pose, just sort of grabbing onto the wall. And you can just press the F over here just to make sure that this animation gets saved, and you can press Command S to save. And now we can close this file and wait a moment for Unity to import. And now in the animations tab over here of this model, we're going to add a new animation, and we're going to select wall hold as the source, and we can just hit apply. So now in our animator, which you can get to just by double clicking the player animator controller here, and over here we're going to create a new parameter, a bool, called, we can call it wall hold, I guess. So that will be the state before the wall jump is initiated, as they're just sort of grabbing onto the wall. And we're going to create we're going to drag in this animation over here, and we're going to transition from jumping to wall hold if wall hold is, oops, not sliding, if wall hold is true. And from wall hold, we're going to transition to jumping if wall hold is false and jumping is true. So that will be the wall jump part of it. And we're going to transition from wall hold to movement if wall holding is false, and if jumping is also false. So in other words, if we just sort of slid down the side of the wall and hit the ground again, then we don't want to play the jumping animation. We want to go straight back to our movement blend tree. And if we go into a wall jump from a state which isn't jumping, so for example, if you're high up and you walk off something and you're falling, we currently don't have a falling animation state. So for now, we're just staying in the movement when we walk off something, but we still want to be able to transition into wall hold. So from here, we can also go straight to wall hold if that is true. Okay, so we've got our animation blend tree completely set up for this part. Now, let me just save. We can go into our scene here. And let's see what we want to do first. The saw blade, we're going to just turn it into a prefab just by dragging it into our prefabs folder. And now we can just delete it, get it out of our way. So now we need to do a bit of scripting work. So it's going to mono develop. And we're going to work first in the player physics script. So we're going to want a public bool, but we don't want this to appear in the inspector, so we can just use hide in inspector. And it's a public bool called can wall hold, and that will be true if collisions are detected on either the left or right of the player. So in our move, you can see we've got these check collisions left and right, and that's this block of code here. Now we actually only want this to run if delta x is not equal to 0. So in other words, if there's no movement left or right, then we don't want to be checking for collisions left and right. That's essentially what that is. Now also, we want to, just up here, we want to say can wall hold is equal to false, because we're going to be checking if it's true every frame. So we can just initially set it to false so that all other cases are caught right at the beginning here. And now in the actual raycast part, we can just say if hit.collider.tag is equal to wall jump, and this is something we'll set up in a moment, then can wall hold is equal to true. Okay, and now in the player controller, we are going to just go down. You can see we've got this line of code here, well, this block actually, which is if player physics.grounded, and right at the bottom of that we want to say else. So this is if the player is not touching the ground, in other words they're jumping or falling. Then we want to say if, I apologize if you can hear all the motorbikes going past, it's really quite noisy today. If player physics dot can wall hold, then we want to say wall holding equals true, and wall holding is a variable we'll set up right now. We'll go into our states and say private bool, oh god, my typing's off today, private bool wall holding. Okay, and from here we're also going to say, where are we? We're going to say animator.setBool wall hold, and we want to set that to true. Okay, and this only needs to be executed, I guess, if not wall holding. Alright, now let's go into Unity and just set up those tags quickly, or rather that tag. Let's create a cube and just scale this up a nice lot. Just put it over here, and this is going to have a tag called wall jump, or wall jumping. I can't remember what I named it, hold on. If we go into player physics, said wall jump, yes, that makes more sense. So wall jump, and we're going to apply the tag right here, and we're going to just duplicate this with Command D, and let's just add the saw blade material to this for now, just to differentiate it from these cubes in the background. So with our player here, when we jump, okay, sorry, these also need to have the layer collisions, of course, so that our raycast detects them. So now when we jump into them, we're getting this wall holding animation played. Of course, we want some way for it to stop playing at some point. So in the player controller, we're going to say right here in the if player physics.grounded, we'll say if wall holding, then wall holding equals false, and animator.setBool wall hold also false, because of course if we're wall holding but we're actually touching the ground, then we might as well just be standing. So that's what that's doing. And now if we go in here and play, we can see that if we jump onto this wall and slide down, the animation will stop playing. Now we still have a few problems we need to sort out. The first is just that we're sliding down this wall much too fast. You know, we're holding on, so we want it to be a really gradual slide down. The other is if we jump and then change direction, you see, well, that looks ridiculous. So we actually want to say that once you're holding on, if you try moving in the other direction, you'll keep holding on until you jump or decide to slide down. So over in the player controller script, we've got this little bit of code here where we're setting the amount to move, and then we're calling player physics and telling it to move that amount. So between where we're setting the amount to move.x and where we're applying the gravity, we're going to say if wall holding, then we want to set the amount to move dot x to 0, and if not, hold on, how do we want to do this? We want to say what we're trying to achieve is that if the player is holding the down key, then they'll slide down the wall as if normal gravity is being applied. Otherwise, if they're not holding down the down key, then just this little bit of gravity will be applied each frame. So if input dot get axis raw vertical, if that is equal to -1, rather if it's not equal to -1, then we're going to set amount to move dot y to 0, and then instead of this gravity accumulating over time, because it's minus equals, it will just be starting from 0 each time, and we'll get this sort of slow slide down. So let's see how this is working. If we jump in here and I change direction, okay, so we've still got to change this so that he doesn't rotate, but at least he's not moving off the wall now. And also we've got this very nice slow slide down, and if I press the down key, you can see that he goes at normal speed down again. So that's looking good, but of course we want to change the rotation issue. So over here we have a little bit of code saying face direction, and we said if move direction is not equal to 0, and now we'll add in a little something where we say and not wall holding. So if you're wall holding, then you can't change direction. Just like this, no longer changing direction. Okay, now the problem is, once we're holding onto the wall, we can't jump anymore, so we need to fix that. And the way we're going to do that is, let's see, we're going to take our jump input, which is currently inside the if player physics.grounded block, which makes sense, but we actually want it now to run even outside of that. So we'll just move it up above that, and we'll say this can run if player physics.grounded, or that's the double straight line thingies, which is shift forward slash, and so it's if player physics.grounded, or if wall holding, that's when we will be able to jump. And if we are wall holding, then we want to, first of all, no longer be wall holding, because we're actually wall jumping now, so wall holding equals false. And we want to change the animator boolean to reflect that change, so animator.setBool wall hold is now false. And let's see if that's working at all. So if we oops. Okay, so all of a sudden we have no jumping functionality at all. That's not intended. Let's see. Okay, so I guess the problem is that we're setting amount to move .y to jump height, but then we're still grounded, so we're just getting it reset back to 0 again. So that's easy enough to fix. We'll just shift this all the way down below this block of code. So just over here. Make sure you don't put it in the else statement, because we want this to be able to execute even if we are grounded. So now let's see if this is working. So yes, we can jump again, and we can still wall jump, and look at that, we can jump up this wall, and we can sort of jump from either side. That's good, but there are obviously a few things that need to be ironed out. So let's see, what is the first thing that needs to be ironed out? Here it is. Because we've got this sort of acceleration thing going, which is giving us a bit of slidey movement, which I quite like. As you change direction, you don't suddenly just start moving in the other direction. You've got this bit of backward slide. However, this does have the result that, let me just make this full screen. Even though we're facing, or rather, the rays are not necessarily being cast in the direction we're facing, so if we jump this way and then suddenly turn, the rays were still hitting against this wall here. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a variable, caps lock off, private float called move direction x, and we're going to set move direction x. We can just set it over here by the input. We'll say move direction x is equal to input.get axis for all horizontal, and we can just now replace all instances of get axis for all horizontal with move direction x. So let's just, you can see we actually created a temporary variable that is doing kind of the same thing, but this was local to this block of code, so we want to make it global. Move direction x, what else can we replace? Over here, this needs to be move direction x, and I think that's everything. So what we're going to be doing with this move direction x is passing it in to the playerphysics.move method. So we'll just add comma and move direction x. Now if we just go over to the playerphysics.move method, handy trick if you don't know, if you have a name of some function or variable, if you just select it and press Command Y, it will jump over to the script and show you exactly where that's located. Just another example of that, if I select delta Y and press Command Y, it will show me what was instantiated up here. I find that very useful. So this move method is taking in a vector2 move amount, and now it's also taking in a move direction x, which of course is a float. Now what we want to do here, in this if statement, we want to say this is only true if delta x, let's see, we'll say if the sine of delta x is equal to the sine of move direction x. So if the direction that is being applied is the same as the sort of target direction, if that makes any sense, then we can wall hold. So now that should get rid of the errors. Double click. That needs to be move direction x. Okay. Is that all the errors you have for me? Yes. Now if we run, as you can see, we're no longer having this problem here. If we change direction here, then it won't consider that wall holding, but okay, so we also can't wall hold anymore. Troubleshooting time, let's see. I'm an idiot. Sorry about that. Let us delete that debug.log statement and change this from sign to sign. We don't want our trig function. We want to know if it's negative or positive. Sorry about that. That was exceedingly dumb. Alright, let's see how things are going now. I want my camera zoomed out a little bit actually. I'm going to change it to like that. Okay, so we can grab onto the wall, we can jump from either side, we can jump up and grab on whenever we want, and we slowly slide down unless we press down, in which case we accelerate down. It's not perfect, but I think for now it's gonna do. So thank you very much for watching part 6, and I hope to see you again in part 7. Cheers.